What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday edition of The Squeeze. I am your host, Tyler Conium. Shout out to Cody Rhodes for winning the Men's Royal Rumble last night, if you're a wrestling fan. Royal Rumble is always one of the most fun nights on the wrestling calendar. Big Cody Rhodes fan here ever since he left WWE. My wife and I were ringside to All In. If you know what that means, then you'll know how important that show was in the creation of All Elite Wrestling. But anyways, shout out to Cody Rhodes. Fun event last night. Interesting to see where that goes. Wish we could bet on that. Is DraftKings advertisements through the whole event. Cody, I think, was minus 140 to win the Royal Rumble. I would have bet that, but you can't bet that in Canada. So it is what it is. Great event. What we did bet yesterday, we went 2-1. Another winning day. We hit the Flyers and Jets under for plus 100. We hit the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns parlay, even though it was interesting. The Suns ended up winning that game in overtime, but they did. So we hit that parlay. The Toronto Raptors played very well against the Portland Trailblazers on the second half of a back-to-back, so we lost that bet there. So officially, it was a 2-1 day, up 0.78 units because we didn't pay the juice on the parlay, and that is okay. Happy NFL Championship weekend. It's the second last week on the NFL calendar. Very exciting. There's not a lot going on today. The bets, I've really been struggling of what I'm going to talk about today. There's only 2 NHL games. Obviously, there's the 2 football games, and then there's 4 NBA games. There is not a lot to bet on. You know, I'm into college basketball and other different sports. There's a Wrexham game against Sheffield for the FA Cup, but in terms of betting and what I want to recommend, I bet it was a bit of a leaner night, but we will get started in the NHL first. But before we do, I just want to say, if you're enjoying these videos, feel free to drop a subscribe, tell a friend, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or this YouTube channel. Trying to grow this group a little bit. We're doing very well. We're up almost 12 units on the year. So if you get any value from these, or if you just like listen to me talk about a whole lot of nothing or sports, please hit that subscribe button down there and or tell a friend. Okay. We're going to start in the NHL, and one of the 2 games tonight is the Boston Bruins at the Carolina Hurricanes. Boston is on a 2-game losing streak. They have not lost 3 games in a row this season, whereas Carolina has won 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8. But I'm not going to touch the money line or who's going to win this game. I'm strictly going to talk about the totals. And it's a little bit juicy, but I'm going to go under 6. I got this for minus 115 at BetVictor. It's one of the few that wasn't around like the minus 25, minus 130 range. So if you can shop around and get that, do it. Boston 38-6, best team in the NHL. Not far behind is Carolina at 31-9 and 6-2. On the road, Boston 16-5 at home, Carolina 15-5. To the under, Boston is 23-21. Carolina is 24-23. Now, if you've been following along, you know that on the second half of a back-to-back, I like to bet the unders. Boston, I think this is a good spot for them to rebound and get a win, but Carolina's good. This game's going to be played like a playoff game, no doubt, but what is the deciding factor for me was last night in net, Boston had Jeremy Swayman. They did not play Allmark last night. Allmark is playing tonight against Carolina. Even though Boston might be on some tired legs, which means they might not score, they've got their best backstop and arguably the best backstop in the NHL, and Allmark back there, 25-3-0-1 with a 1.86 GAA and a 937 save percentage. I think that they're going to come out. I think they're going to be playing Carolina tough. I think this is going to be a playoff atmosphere. Again, especially it's a 5 p.m. start, so it's a little bit early. You've got only 2 games on the NHL slate today. I think that this game is hard fought. I think it's a great defensive matchup. I like this game to go under 6. We also have push potential there as well. So under 6, minus 115 at BetVictor. Now let's get into the NFL. These games are going. These are tough football games. Let's be honest. San Francisco, Philadelphia, full transparency. I have a plus 1,800 ticket on the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. So there's a reason I'm wearing the Terrell Owens jersey today. But Philadelphia is a good team. I have no idea what's going to happen in this. So I'm cheating a little bit here. At FanDuel, there is a Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdowns boosted to plus 200. And I'm just going to take that. I know he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury, but when you look back, again, this is an anytime touchdown. Against Dallas, he had one. Against Seattle, he had one. Because it's receiving or rushing, he has had a touchdown in every game since November 27th against the New Orleans Saints. And that was a 13-0 win for the 49ers. So he's getting either a receiving or a rushing or both in the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row. I'm just going to roll with that. I think he's going to have a big game. I think the Eagles, if they do have a weak point, it's against the run. They're giving up about 4.8 yards per carry on the ground. Brock Purdy's going to have to hand the ball off a little bit more. Listen, at some point, I feel like the Brock Purdy magic has to run out, hoping, of course, that they win the Super Bowl and will cash a plus 1,800 ticket. But at some point, he's going to have to dink and dump, and I think we're going to see a lot of George Kittle today. I think we're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey and a lot of Deebo Samuel running the ball. So I'm just going to take the touchdown prop, Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. That is boosted to plus 200 at FanDuel for 1 unit. And then the last game that I'm going to talk about today is, of course, the other football game, Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs. A lot is being said about who's going to win this game. A lot of people are on Cincinnati. Of course, they went to the Super Bowl last year. They just dominated the Buffalo Bills 27-10. You've got Patrick Mahomes' ankle injury. Look, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line in this game, minus 120. I don't even want to play around with the lines, minus 2.5, minus 3. I think right now at ProLine Plus, you can get it at minus 2.5. Some books have gone to minus 1.5. I don't know. I don't even want to bother playing around with that. It could be a 1-point win. Who knows? I'm just going to take the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line. There's not a lot of analysis here. The Cincinnati has won their last 10 weeks. Kansas City's won 9 of their last 10, and their one loss was to Cincinnati. It was a 27-24 loss. I think that's actually going to play a factor. That game was in Cincinnati. I think Andy Reid's going to remember that. I trust him as a little bit of a better coach. I think Patrick Mahomes, at the end of the day, maybe he won't be as mobile, but he's Patrick Mahomes, and I know you don't necessarily want to bet against Joe Burrow either, but to me, this is a coin flip game. I just think getting to back-to-back Super Bowls is extremely difficult. I think beating the Kansas City Chiefs back-to-back times, having already done it this season, is going to be tough. Cincinnati outscored Kansas City 10-0 in the fourth quarter of that football game, which I do not see happening again. So, listen, again, there's going to be so much analysis. Anywhere you want to get whatever stats you want, you can do that somewhere. I'm just going to take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 120 on the money line. I'm predicting a good game. I think home field is going to play a role. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to play a role, and getting to back-to-back Super Bowls is tough. So it's a very tough card. Feel free to fade or follow any of those picks. I know it's a tough one, but that's what we're going with today. So let's run back down this card. I like the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes to go under 6 for minus 115 at BetVictor. I like Christian McCaffrey to get an anytime touchdown at plus 200. That's boosted at FanDuel. And I like the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Cincinnati Bengals on the money line. Minus 120, that's at Betway, and I'm not paying the juice. We're just going to do one flat unit. Feel free to drop a comment if you're fading or following. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Conium for more picks and props throughout the day. Audio versions available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Let's enjoy the last weekend of football before the Super Bowl. Let's talk sports.